Okay, so this is our final video lesson on sentences before we move into the video lessons on phrases. And if you look at the name of this sentence, you can probably infer what's involved, right? So in video lesson number 2, you learned what a compound sentence is. Recall that it's the combination of at least two independent clauses using one of the fanboys for and, nor, but, or, yet, so. And you know what a complex sentence is. That's the combination of at least one dependent clause and only one independent clause. So we're basically joining those two types of sentences to form a compound complex sentence. So you know then that a compound complex sentence will include at least two independent clauses, because that's what we need at minimum to form a compound sentence, and at least one dependent clause, because that's what we need at minimum to form a complex sentence. However, you are not limited to only 3 clauses. This is the English language, after all. You can go on and on and on and on into infinity. I don't recommend that because that's not writing with your reader in mind. But you could, and I'll give you an example of how you can write, more than 3 clauses. For example, here's a series of just simple sentences. I was shopping for ketchup. I forgot my wallet. I'm lazy. I didn't really feel like driving back to my place. I decided to steal it instead. All right, so a short little story about ketchup larceny. However, I want to make it a little more interesting to read. I want it to flow better. If you listen to that again, it's just very, very choppy. And compound complex sentences help us do that. They also help your reader see the relationship between these sentences and how they should create meaning from that. All right, so here's the new, improved, revised ketchup larceny tale. While I was shopping for ketchup, I realized that I forgot my wallet at home, but I'm lazy, which is why I didn't really feel like driving back to my place, so I decided to steal it instead. All right, so dependent clause, while I was shopping for ketchup, leading into an independent clause. I realized that I forgot my wallet at home. And then we have a coordinating conjunction here. This is a compound sentence, right? But I'm lazy. And then I have another dependent clause, which is why I didn't really feel like driving back to my place. And then I have another of the fanboys here that links together an independent clause. So dependent, independent, independent, dependent, independent, right? So I'm sure I could continue linking a bunch of clauses together to hash out what it's like to steal a condiment, but I won't subject you to that. Okay, so hopefully in that example you can see that compound complex sentences are exactly what they sound like. It's the combination of a compound sentence with a dependent clause to make a compound complex sentence. All right, so here is video assignment number 4, which should be no surprise at this point. You are going to take that paragraph from either assignment 1, 2, or 3 and revise it to include at least one compound complex sentence. Now, I encourage you to do more, but at the bare minimum, I want you to revise it to have one compound complex sentence. And I want you to underline that. And it's okay if you need to add more sentences to your paragraph to make this work, but I would like for you to try to revise the paragraph. I'd like for you to try to combine clauses that are already extant in existence for your new paragraph. Okay, so here is my paragraph from assignment 3 from the lesson on complex sentences. So you can see there all the words in red, I think one phrase highlighted in red there. Those all indicate and set up dependent clauses. I don't think I need to reiterate that lesson for you. If that doesn't make sense, then I encourage you to go back and listen to and watch the lesson on complex sentences, excuse me. Okay, so here is the new, improved, gripping, revised paragraph, including a smattering of compound complex sentences. And what I've done here, I've included a patriotic color coding scheme for you, so that you can track this a little more easily. So in blue are the independent clauses, and in red are the dependent clauses. So Norman paused the bell on the door, independent clause. Because he wants to go out again, dependent clause. Since he was never meant to be an apartment dog, dependent clause. This is normal for him. All right, so let's pause here. So I have since he was never meant to be an apartment dog, which is a dependent clause, and this is going to be the first compound complex sentence in this paragraph. Since he was never meant to be an apartment dog, dependent clause. This is normal for him, independent clause, and I've combined that with my wife and I take him and his brother Puck to the park often. Okay, so I use the coordinating conjunction. I've used the fanboys word so there to do that. But the fun doesn't stop there. No, I have attached yet another dependent clause where he gets plenty of exercise. So that is a grand total of 2 dependent clauses and 2 independent clauses in that one compound complex sentence. And we finish it up with 1 dependent clause, while at the park, which leads into a compound sentence, right? So while at the park, dependent clause, he loves to run and retrieve the ball, independent clause, but he always manages to get wet and smelly, independent clause. But you can see there, since I have two independent clauses joined by but, with a dependent clause, it qualifies for a compound complex sentence. So the first sentence here, complex sentence. The second sentence, compound complex sentence. And the last sentence is a compound complex sentence. So you can see I went from, I think in assignment 1, I had somewhere around 5 or 6 sentences to 3. Okay? I'd like for you to do something similar. And remember, you're shooting for at least 1 compound complex sentence. Again, I hope this has been helpful for you. If not, get in contact with me or hit the rewind button. All right, good luck.